smells.
Sweet pizza.
No, I like it. It smells good.
It smells like sweet, sweet pizza.
Sweet pizza, sweet pizza.
Oh, here we are.
You gonna hang out with us, though?
Maybe I'll see.
See what happens. I got something to show you if you want to hang out for a few minutes when we do our intro. We're just going to wait a few minutes for people to
Hey guys!
join us. Hello.
Happy
We're
Mother's
doing.
Day!
Ooh, James Modgeling. He's here. He's like, all right.
Mother's Day, right?
Can someone get 2 junk pots in a week? He's ready to go.
I don't know about that. Is it Wednesday?
It is Wednesday, Ange.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. In fact, I've got my little note right here. It is, wait for it. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Maybe you should write the name of the day of the week so I know what it is.
Oh, instead, don't just put the
Yeah,
number. You need
I
a
don't even
date.
know what day it is.
It's Slurs Day. That's what we've heard. Every day is Slurs Day. We're going to make
everyone.
Slurs Day happen.
Hello, Avery and Eric Berger.
And David Howe.
David Peterson.
And Ida Christensen. Don't forget Melissa Valaket.
Should we just let the theme song play again? Just
Over and over
and
and
over
over
again?
and over again. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Tony DiTerlizzi. I'm here with my lovely and talented wife, Angela. Yay! And even Sophia is here, lurking. And the dogs, of course, which I'm sure when I'm giving you the most vital, important piece of art insight that I can give, the dogs will decide that is the moment to start ripping out each other's throats and growling and snarling. Anyway, we're happy to be here. We're happy to be with you guys.
CIW.
Yes, as you guys may, if you tuned in yesterday, we had a great day. We drew live, and the runaway hit of the show, I think many will agree, was Sophia's drawing of Old Man Owlheimer, which Sophia has since told me what his
Heimer.
his quote here that had me baffled yesterday was because Sophia slept in our bed that night with her stuffy of Hedwig, Soph? Was it a Hedwig stuffy? And how old is this? Do you remember when you did this? How long ago? How many years ago? Do you remember what grade you were in? 3rd, 4th, maybe? Around 3rd or 4th, so a few years ago. Anyway, I redrew many things yesterday and took many requests, including this rendition of Old Man Owlheimer that I posted, and also with Angela and Emily, our ever vigilant group administrator, we posted Sophia's drawing so that other people, Ange, could do their take. And so I thought you would enjoy. I just literally grabbed, there's got to be close to a dozen now, Owlheimers. I just printed off a few that were there. This is Susie Taddick's Owlheimer, which I love those eyebrows.
That is awesome.
That is a nice tie. Very nice, Susie. This one is fantastic.
That's awesome.
Sarah McKelly, also another great hat, almost like Mr. Spider's hat from Spider and the Fly, Ange. And another great tie. And this Heimer, he just threw out the pipe. He's done with the pipe. He's looking for his pipe. He's staring very intently. I love that. And this one's great. Kaylee Lewis did a terrific drawing that I really liked.
Aw, little bubble pipe.
Got the bubble pipe, those piercing eyes. Got a little cane, a little walking stick for this guy. Look. Copyright Sophia DiTerlizzi.
Who said it? Steve Jankowitz asked if Soph was going to pick her favorite.
Oh, decisions.
Ooh, your
And here's another one here.
Alzheimer's.
Michael Harber did I just love the Michael Harber and the owls just like staring and staring and staring at me with a little dainty top hat. Anyway.
Owlheimer eyes.
So many great Owlheimers, so terrific. And I do love that everyone, myself included, didn't really acknowledge Soph except for Kaylee. Kaylee's the only one that acknowledged Soph by putting a copyright. And that actually leads to part of the theme today, Ange. I've got a theme.
Infringement?
Copyright infringement and you.
Are you? You're picking your favorite Owlheimer?
She's going to pick later, right, Soph? Then that'll be we'll tie that into the junk pile.
Oh yeah, that's good.
So I don't know if anyone knows who this dashing man is, with his piercing gaze and his
he looks like an owl.
very thin. He is kind of owl-like. I wonder if anyone knows who this man might be. He's no longer with us. He's very famous. He's not Bernie Sanders.
You guys have to. Oh, Brett.
Brett got it. Yes, this is the one and only Pablo Picasso. This is Pablo Picasso, arguably probably one of the most famous artists in history. And Picasso, I was a huge fan of Picasso, and Picasso said some pretty amazing things in his lifetime. And one of my favorite things that he said was this: good artists copy.
Ooh. I know this.
Great artists steal.
Jean-Luc Picard?
Good artists copy. Great artists steal. There is a variation of this I've seen also where bad artists copy and great artists steal. I'm going to go with the good and the great. What does he mean by that? And it's not stealing your picture off of Instagram to put on a Starbucks mug and make money. There's something deeper that Picasso's talking about. And in fact, another genius said something similar, Ange. This is going to be unexpected. Wait for it. Make sure I've got it upright. I think I do. The only art I'll ever study is stuff I can steal from. And of course, we all know that is arguably another one of the most famous recording artists of all time, Mr. David Bowie. So what do they mean by that? Well, I'm going to show you today, because today on Drawn to Fantasy, I am going to steal right in front of your eyes. I'm going to show an intimate part of my process and how I find inspiration. We get this a lot. What I sense this is probably what people mean when they ask this question, which is, I have drawing block. How do you get inspired? I can't find the ways to get inspired. And so I'm going to show you one of the exercises that I do, and there's many variations on this, that help me get inspired. So we are going to be working, or I'm going to be working, on the Kenny box set. So what that is Kenny and the Dragon, as you probably know by now, has a sequel that's coming out. It's a middle grade book about a rabbit and a dragon who are best friends, and the sequel, if the world starts to return to what it once was, will be out this fall. And we are going to do a boxed set with both books included. And I've been asked, now we can do a couple things when we release these, and we've done this before, so it really depends on my schedule. For instance, let me show you what I mean. Hold on. Wait for it. Oh, you find another quote in?
Yeah. Listen, guys. Well, we're on the subject of really important figures.
Here's one of them.
That's Mimi. Oh, Mimi's drawn to fantasy, huh? All right, scooch over. Well, we're talking about just really inspirational quotes, and they're just important people to us. Another very famous artist that we've been discussing, I just wanted to share this one with you as well, is our friend Wilfred Brimley. And he just said, "Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number. I'd like to talk to you about diabetes." That's for all you guys.
That's not Wilfred Brimley.
There he is.
That's old man Owlheimer. There he is.
That was for you guys. I thought you'd appreciate
That's for everybody who tuned in yesterday. Box sets. So what we're talking about is the sleeve, the thing the books all come in. Now, this will be a smaller version. It'll have only 2 books. And sometimes we just reuse existing art. Here's an example of the Beyond Spider-Book books. I was looking for the Wandla ones, Ange. We just used the cover to the paperback on the Wandla box set. But here's a good example where we just reused the art from the third Beyond book here, The Worm King. We just put it on the cover. I think I was pressed for time. Didn't have a whole lot of time when we did this. On the other hand, when we designed the first Spiderwick box set, we designed a fancy cover. And as a person who likes to consume things like this, I love when something is not only well designed, but as an added boon. I think this one even has, there's a hidden thimble tack inside the box. That's kind of cool.
Does he say click, clack, watch your back?
He says it. He says it all. He says all the things. So my publisher, the folks at Simon Schuster, said, listen, we can just reprint the cover for Kenny and the Dragon on the box set, or if you are feeling inspired, we can design something new. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I wanted to share with you, we're going to go through quite a process here. This is the original email I got from the art director came on the 16th of April. So we were deep on, I think we were designing fairies, and I was getting ready. I knew I had to do the floor display thing that I did for, marketing, the big giant dragon thing that we showed you guys. Oh. And anyway, I also sketch out my first idea is the first thing that comes to mind. So this is what they're talking about. It'll be a sleeve that'll hold the two books. I thought about two things like Kenny and Graham. I thought about these kind of silhouettes, very iconic of Kenny and Graham. Maybe the trend right now is to take a silhouette and you put a different picture in the silhouette. So I thought, it'd be kind of interesting to do a silhouette of Graham, but put something inside that's different. But the editor, Justin, piped up and said he'd actually like to see a group shot of all the characters, which I thought is pretty cool. So this is literally the sketch I did. And to give you an idea of the size, here's my thumb. So these literally are like thumbnails. These are just little. I always keep paper by the computer, so when I'm on the phone and stuff, I can just quickly jot these down. So you can see it's very, very rough. Now, once I heard that note from the editor.
Like a thumbnail? A
thumbnail, yes. This is like a thumb. These are all thumbnail sketches. So they're small, they're quick, they're done with a ballpoint pen. We're going to do a whole bunch more in a minute. I thought about this group shot thing, and now I thought I need to go find inspiration. And what was great, Ange, is we were busy working on the marketing piece, so it allowed me to kind of mull in the back of my brain. I'm thinking about this piece that we have to do. So the first thing I need to do is find inspiration. Well, when I think of group posings, the first thing that popped into my mind were movie posters. In fact, Ange, I want to say you also thought the same thing too. The first thing Ange said is like the Stranger Things movie poster was the first thing you said. And you pulled this up on the internet, and I showed you my sketch, which I had drawn completely out of my head. But what's insane is how close these are in composition. And the reason these are so close in composition is because this composition is very popular with movie posters, in particular older movie posters, but we see it a lot now. So I'm looking at composition. Let me break these up. I did not sort these before I brought them to show you, but I do have a lot of examples here. Here's another group shot. This is from the 1937 original release of Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, also a group shot. Here's a big group shot from How to Train Your Dragon 2. Really terrific. I really like. There's a lot of fun there. What works so great here is all the different sizes of the faces. That's really, really cool. Here's a different sort of group shot. Here we have a central figure, and then all the group is confined to the border. Yes, so they border.
The color printer's working.
The color printer is on full blast, and I have to use it, so here we are using it. Very similar here to Snow White way back when is the composition for the latest installment of Toy Story, which I thought was very good. And then last but not least, and this is why I had Onward out, was I thought these were very similar in design and also very captivating and also very fresh. These are very now.
Alfonso, you nailed it. It is like a Drew Struzan poster.
Yes, Drew Struzan. In fact, Alfonso, I thought about using Drew Struzan as an example, and I have a big book on Drew Struzan. I felt like I wanted two things, more contemporary than Drew Struzan, which is this, and also these movie posters are all aimed at the same age range as Kenny and the Dragon. Granted, most of them are Pixar and Disney, but that's who's making a lot of the movies right now for that age range. So I wanted something within the last few years. And the only reason I printed Snow White was I just wanted to show you that this type of composition has existed for decades.
Well, and I think what it does is when you're using a composition like that, immediately you get a snapshot of the environment, the characters, and often action.
Yes.
And, in this case, like How to Train Your Dragon, or Stranger Things, you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, this is a magical looking universe. These kids look engaging. There's tension.
Yep.
There's, so you can convey a lot with these types of images.
So what are we going to steal? We're not going to steal anything but the compositions. That's the only thing I'm interested in today. I'm going to take their compositions and simplify them into shapes, and then we're going to see which shapes seem to work, and can I plug Kenny and Company into the same shapes. And this is a great exercise. My hunch is, Ange, at the end, it won't resemble quite any of the compositions of these, but it'll be an amalgam of many of these. So I'm going to start with the Stranger Things one. I'm going to do a very quick thumbnail of what this... The great thing is it's vertically aligned, very similar to what the sleeve of the book box set will be. So the Stranger Thing one has a logo that's down low, so the title's going to be down here. I can zoom in on this if you guys want, so you can kind of see it a little closer, even though it's tiny. I'll hold it. So we have a logo. Looks like there's some stuff here in the border. We have central... we have literally a box of figures. All the heads are roughly the same size, and then they diminish as they go back. We get a sense of the environment. There's a central figure right here, and then we repeat this arc here in this. There it is. I've taken that and stolen the composition. It's that simple.
Well, what I thought is when I looked at that, there was the kind of root, kind of heart, feels like you're in type of some organ at the top.
Yeah.
But that also reminded me of a wingspan of a dragon. Mm-hmm. So, I definitely thought there was that. You could
totally.
Graham at the top with his wings.
There's also
marching over.
And in fact, there's another, as the more I stare at it, the more I see. So one of the other things that's really intriguing is if you look, the horizon line, I got incorrect, Ange. The horizon line is not straight. The horizon line goes at a wonky angle.
Well, there's actually what there is there's a big X in the middle of
There's
that
an X, because they crisscross it two ways.
It's actually here, because you've got this arm, you've got this,
so right? It's all X's.
So it's all, and then you've got the wheels of the bike, and the center of that is
what's his face. He's at the end. So they're using crosses and X's to achieve the center point of this, which is what's his face? I can't remember.
Will?
Yeah, him. I don't know who went in. He's the one that went in the upside down. He's like the main character. You guys know. I don't need to tell you.
They look so alike. I always got mixed up.
Yes.
Except you had the bowl cut on the one.
Yeah.
And like the kind of moppy hairdo on the other one.
But it's funny because if I were to take this and tilt it, actually make the horizon line straight, you can see that their bikes would actually. The only one who's kind of upright is what's his face. Anyway, someone did ask if
Mike Wheeler.
Someone asked if this, Mike Wheeler, thank you, if this was Drew Struzan. It is. I don't believe it is. I believe it's an artist emulating that 80s style that Drew Struzan made so popular. So.
And you're right. Everything is reinforcing. Can you grab that for 1 second? Everything, all the lines are reinforcing that, right? Like her arms that are kind of outstretched, the shape of all these characters.
Yeah, so you've got the thumbs, you got the arms, you got this. It's interesting he didn't do the beam of light. You think he did? Maybe it was just two on the nose if he angled the beam of light. But one here is the telephone lines, and then the horizon are also, they're all forming these X's that form and kind of do it. And then
and then you've got all the pumpkins at the bottom, and these are all kind of surrounding this. It's all about directing.
Well, it's round. Yeah, they're round. This is round. There's a YouTube. I'll see if I can find it. But there's a great YouTube thing. I want to say like Vanity Fair or Esquire magazine did, of a art director for one of the big movie studios, breaks down a lot of the iconic movie posters because the colors all mean something for movies and everything else. But I'm not interested in that right now. What I'm interested in is their composition, and can I apply it to Kenny and Company? Now, the Toy Story and the Snow White one are very similar, but the Toy Story one has one thing that makes it extra awesome. It's Dirk Kaboom. No, I'm kidding. It's not Dirk Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom. And it's very subtle, but it's the thing that I think makes it very now. That is, Snow White's on an arc, right? Now we have to give him a break. This was literally the first movie poster Disney would have done for a feature, and then it comes up like this. So it's really kind of a triangle, right? And for the most part, this is a triangle, right? Here it's also a triangle, but he's standing on the triangle, so it's like a giant arrow pointing to the hero. You see that?
Forky is holding a fork, which is also
Pointing to, yes. Everything is secondary to Woody. We know this is going to be a story about Woody because the whole thing is about that. Interestingly, they've eliminated a lot of the secondary original characters here. They could have put them in, but they've chosen not to, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Well, they were really just focusing on all the newly introduced character, and that even goes for what's her name?
Bo Peep.
Bo Peep, because this is like the new version of her.
It's interesting because you realize Buzz is saying goodbye here. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Anyway, very different from the very posed kind of scene that we see in Snow White. Here, Snow White's just kind of standing there. And we do have the secondary characters. We have the prince. We have the huntsman here. We also have the queen in her various forms. But everyone's kind of just hanging out. Again, this was all about, we have taken a fairy tale that looks like something Arthur Rackham illustrated and brought it to life. So it's doing what it needs to do for 1937, but it's much savvier.
So she's always holding up her dress. She's
I don't know.
dancing around holding up
dress.
her dress.
Well,
just cut your dress shorter.
Just
Snow White.
you need some
Just end that dress.
you just need some shorts, girl. So let's try the Toy Story.
Haven't watched Toy Story 4. Is it good? Is your question.
Oh, if you're a big Toy Story fan, I think Toy Story 3 is got to be one of the best movies Pixar's made, personally. And so that said, 4 cannot top 3, but I'm spoiled.
There's some good new characters in 4.
Yeah.
Kaboom is awesome. Who's that guy on the motorcycle? Spoiler alert, voiced by Keanu Reeves, and he's pretty awesome.
They've repeated.
I think we came away with a lot of questions, but it was worth the watch.
I feel like it should have been 3.5, me personally. So this also repeats this thing by inverting it up here. Kind of the same thing that the Stranger Things did with the arcs, with the Demigorgon thing or the demon thing, or the Mind Flayer on the top, and then the pumpkins on the bottom. This uses the same thing here, where we have this kind of chevron shape going up, and here it is repeated here. Again, we're using tangents to make that connection, and it's all pretty much pointing to Woody, which is great because immediately I think, all right, I know Kenny Rabbit needs to be front and center. Thank you, Emily. All right, let's look at another one, Ange, as we continue pilfering movie posters from the past and the present. I'm going to jump to How to Train Your Dragon 2. I looked at all the How to Train Your Dragon posters. This just absolutely jumped out at me. And the funny thing is, 5 years ago, I would have been terrified to tackle a composition like this. But having done the exhibition poster for the Rockwell, I feel like I can do anything now. I mean, I felt like that was...
Can you see that spider? Maybe at the end we could show them that Spiderwick poster that you made.
Oh, yeah. We've posted that before. It's on my site. We've posted it. So I'm going to do the How to Train Your Dragon thumbnail real quick. So here, it's a little softer. There's a little more... The way they're doing this and achieve... It's very busy. And the way they're achieving... So what's it trying to say? We're all together. We're a unit, us and our dragons. And we've... it's very much like... the gang's all back, and look, they've grown up a little bit. So what they're trying to do to keep your eye from going up here and staying down here is they've surrounded, not Hiccup, what's his name? I can't think of that guy's name. You guys know. I'm bad. It's too late in the day for me to be so concise. Someone will get his name. He's mostly surrounded in darks. And that's their way of kind of keeping him. So really what you kind of do is your eye kind of bounces on these three. Oddly, I don't look at him as much. I really look at these three. But in the dead center, almost exact center of this thing, he's off slightly, but Toothless is dead center. So we've got a circle right here in the middle. We've got an arrow pointing right to him.
This is my least favorite of all
Well,
of these.
you know, it's all about...
Nothing to do. But, like, for example, I'm like, what is that at this point?
Yeah,
Like,
it's so much
the
the goat.
guy in here?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they got...
It's a little chaotic.
3 of these mini dudes, 2 of these green guys, the double-headed green guy. There's just, like,
There's a lot. There's a lot. But I didn't want it to be all Disney and Pixar.
It was Hiccup.
I looked at... Thank you. Hiccup. I looked at the Croods. The Croods poster was actually very similar. And then there just wasn't much else. So look, it's a very complicated thing. It's basically interlocking jigsaw puzzle pieces of faces, and there are 2 robins fighting outside or mating. I can't tell. They're really...
This, you know what is going on with this piece, which I know you're not going to do, T.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a lot of, and then add the da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then add da-da-da. Like,
This definitely seemed like DreamWorks jam for a while because, like I said, the Croods poster is almost identical to this, and it's just like, it's a family portrait, everyone get in. Like, it's very much that kind of, everyone jam in for a selfie. So we'll move on from that.
Character overload.
Character overload. I'm going to do the Hercules one. I'm saving Frozen and Onward for last because they're the newest. Now, Hercules is a little older, but what's stuck out to me was the inverse of everything we're kind of talking about, which is instead of clustering all the characters in the center, and you have the main character.
In an X.
Also in an X. Boom. And then all the other characters surround, right? So all your characters go here. There's subtle things going on, but it's not important. They kind of diminish, so the faces are bigger at the bottom. The size here determines the importance of the character, and then they get much smaller for the tertiary and other characters that aren't as important to the main and the secondary characters. But the other thing that's great here that some of these others don't have is we get a tiny little bit of setting. Also,
Snow White had that.
Snow White had the palace, yes, right.
This is another one, to me, personally, I feel like it's not as successful. I feel like once
it's a little chaotic.
Adding so many, because now they're also adding story, right? They're like, here he is as a baby, and here's his parents, and here's his little Pegasus buddy.
Yeah. And
they're trying to create all this story, but to me, your eyes kind of start going crazy.
Well, here's the thing that it suffers in some ways from kind of a similar problem that this has, in that everything is rendered to the same level. So your eye doesn't quite know where to go. Here, again, the values and everything are so at the same level. They're all rendered with the same kind of amount of saturation and color. There's really no shadow. Compare that to all the background information that's happening here, but it's pushed way back into shadow, so we get strong silhouette of the main character. They work as really pretty much as one unit, so they're tonally all done about the same, but all the background stuff is pushed way, way back because it's not important. It's supposed to support it.
And they're using depth of field,
yes,
which is really smart too, because then it's like using a portrait lens, right?
Yes.
So you're creating this snapshot where all of a sudden, okay, we know our focus is on these main characters.
Right.
And the same thing, they're giving you a lot of negative space. They didn't fill it up with
it, but there is a ton of information. We get the arcade sign, we've got the car, we've got the rotted pumpkins from old McGregor's farm or whatever. There's even a scarecrow. But what they also do here, what's really interesting, is the use of color red, right? So I'm gonna surround this in cool blues and going into some purples, and I'm gonna save its opposite color, yellow and orange, and I'm gonna put it right around the main thing that I want you to focus on. Don't need you to focus on these guys. I need you to focus on this one character, 11. And so I'm going to put the opposite colors. How do I know these are opposite colors? Well, I learned it in art school.
This also, by the way, becomes all about the shapes.
It does. It's a whole bunch of things working together. Yeah. I'm using the color wheel. I'm looking at blue. The opposite of blue is orange. I'm looking here at the blue-violet, and it's this orange-yellow, and that's exactly what's going on here. You've got blue going into blue-violet, into magenta, and it's all around the whole thing. And the yellow, we're saving that really bright, like out of the tube yellow for right here, around 11.
And opposite the blue, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Which is also, when you're choosing those, and then you have something like you're representing like the upside down. So of course we're going to take the opposite of the color wheel too to really push that contrast.
Right. So here you can see why the Hercules one, it's over rendered. Just because they're a famous studio doesn't mean they can't, they mess it up on design.
Had several posters.
There's several posters, and who knows if the poster makes or breaks it, right? Sometimes we've seen some lousy posters, and the movie's still super successful. The last ones I've saved are the two from last year, or this year, I should say. And what I found immediately that struck me was the compositional similarities. Now, Onward definitely is meant to evoke a bygone era of the 1980s. It's clear, the late 70s, early 80s. It's evidenced in the brother's clothing, his custom van. They play Dungeons and Dragons. And this, I should have printed it out, Ange. I didn't even think about it. But for those old enough to remember, there's a lot going on here that's reminiscent of the old Flash Gordon movie from the 80s. This lightning bolt in particular was used with great effect in the Flash Gordon movie poster. Replace this hard van graphics with swirling snow, and you've essentially got the same layout here for Frozen 2. Now, I really actually like this Frozen 2 a lot, so I'm going to put the Onward one away because I wanted to just show the trends. But of the two, of every sample we've shown you, this one actually is the one that struck me the most. Central character, dead center.
Magic is down here.
Yes, you've got central character. Right? You've got secondary characters. They're not diminished too small. It's a smaller team. Again, she's the tallest. The others, there's the second most important character. He's the third most important character. Do you see that? It's all about whose height. They play with this actually in the most recent rewatching of... it's the Harry Potter movie where Dolores Umbridge comes on and takes over, and I don't remember which Harry Potter that is, but if you remember, you might remember a scene where Dolores and Professor McGonagall go at it. And while they're yelling at each other, they keep ascending a staircase. One tries to get taller than the other to be more important than the other. It's exactly what's going on here. We want you to know she's the most important character. We want you to know her sister is the second most, and that Kristoff is the third most important. And these are minor supporting characters. Although,
and
if
a little bit of narrative in the back too. We know she's
and we do. We've got it. We've got a lot. We've got icy magic. We see the Kelpie that's going to show up, but it is fairly symmetrical. So you have this kind of shape, and then it kind of repeats again. And we do have a sense of environment and story here, which I also like. I love that it's her again casting the magic. There's a lot of cool
movement.
There's a lot of movement. If I had my way, Olaf would be the one giant in the center. Anyway, we've got secondary characters here.
That'll be for the Olaf straight to Disney Plus.
So you've got this, and which I have to also say, and I don't know if this is conscious or not, Ange, but in the way that this is moving and these dots also evokes music to me. And I can't help but think that that's intentional as well, that it almost feels like it's music.
It looks like Fantasia.
Yeah. So you have a small character here. Both of the mountains peaks here are...
And she's standing like a conductor. Like, with her back, and there's your creating this.
Yeah. So it's all about the music. A very stable... Yeah, I bet there's a Fantasia. I feel like there's a Fantasia poster that's very similar to this, Ange, now that you mention that. So there you go. So there's the Frozen, the composition. Thank you. So there's your composition from the Frozen, where you have Elsa, Anna, and Kristoff a little bit lower. We may want to keep that in mind. Now, I'm doing it here with movie posters for me to understand various composition ideas that might work for my project. I've done other versions of this exercise before. For instance, for those of you who want to understand dummying a picture book, I've done the same thing. I did it with Maurice Sendak's Outside Over There, and also Where the Wild Things Are, where I literally drew the 2-page spread of the book and then broke it down, moved some, drew some of the shapes of the characters. Here's the Wild Things, here's Max, did this. And it's all just to understand how someone is thinking at a very basic level. That's all this is about. It's all about triangles, circles, and squares, shapes and forms, and what's pleasing to the eye. And it's crazy. Even in the simple thumbnail, Ange, look how chaotic the How to Train Your Dragon. If I showed that to a student and said, okay, I'm thinking it's this, they'd be like, that seems kind of crazy.
Welcome to Crazy Town.
Yeah. Look at the solidness of the Toy Story one. I mean,
It's like an open book.
It does, and which could be kind of a cool idea to have. I did think now the bestiary plays a big part in the sequel book, and it also plays a part in the first book. So my thought was that somehow there's an open book, or Kenny's holding a book, because I want him doing something. I think that's the big thing I want in all these. I've tried to have the characters do something that tells a little bit of who they are. If I had to criticize anything, and listen, this is minor criticism because, again, I think this is a really terrific poster. They're not really doing much. Olaf is the only one who seems to be doing something. Everyone else here, I guess, is meant to convey emotion. I don't know. They're all just, I guess it doesn't matter because oh, good, everyone's in it from the first movie. I'm in. And then she's casting some serious magic. But even
and
here,
you're like, oh, she's determined.
But look here. Look how much of the character is conveyed immediately. We get an idea of who these two characters are and that they're probably pretty unlikely. They're physically shaped different. One's really relaxed. The other one looks stressed. And then we've got all kinds of story elements kind of going on in the background. Say what you will about how insane this is, at least we get some sense of who some of these characters are just by what they're doing, right? Same thing here. Characters doing something. They're riding their bikes. He's got the flashlight. He's searching for clues. He's got the 2x4 with the nails. He's ready to do damage. And 11 is casting magic. So it's really, I guess the point is, and look here, Ange. Nothing. We're just hanging out being cool. Which is, listen, I'm not totally condemning it for that. Because the Frozen poster, they're essentially doing the same thing.
I don't like that.
Well, I wanted examples.
No, it's important to look at that stuff because you have to go, why isn't this working? Why isn't this
Right.
feeling?
Now, what's interesting here is, again, it leans heavy on now there is acting, it's more subtle, but I mean, he's kind of giving a salute.
Look at Gabby.
Yeah. You get a little bit of who the characters are, but it's really, I think this poster is more about look who's back and look we've got a whole bunch of new characters. So with all that said.
And a new setting.
Yes.
It obviously showed you that it takes place with a carnival in the background. So somebody was like, hey, give them a sense of place. Where is this thing? We need to let them know this isn't your regular Toy Story.
But they're in an antique shop.
Yep.
Like, it's giving you subtle things to kind of add to it. Plus, this use of the carnival is just a terrific way of adding just a nice burst of color. Because if both sides were this dark, it'd be kind of boring, frankly.
Yeah.
All right. So all that said, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to try to play around now thinking of Kenny and company on our book. So we kind of have an idea. So the first thing I'm thinking about is that kind of, again, that kind of triangle elevated idea. Maybe. So what's interesting is if I put Kenny near the top and I say maybe add Charlotte, my sense is either Graham could go along the bottom or Graham could go along the top, which was our original inclination. And he's kind of enveloping everything. So that's a thought. And then we add the other characters back, Kenny's parents, that kind of thing. Maybe Kenny's holding the book. I'm not going to get this right on the first time. It's going to be a lot of this over and over again. Maybe let me try. Kenny. So I'm trying to keep that going. So Kenny, maybe George is here. Maybe George has a shield. I don't know, his sword. Could kind of maybe do something. Could have a character here. And then you have Graham. So the question is, do I want everybody from both books, Ange? Or do you think it's... See, like, that's kind of interesting. We have Kenny with the book, and then Graham and Graham's wings are kind of forming the same diamond shape. It's kind of interesting.
And they're holding the book, and that's very.
So,
it's actually kind of Spiderwick book 1.
So Kenny's holding the book. You have Charlotte
Right,
and
they're
George,
holding the book.
and you repeat that shape with Graham and his wings spread. Just a thought. Could be. You would even further it because Graham's horns would also kind of echo that. And then you can even underneath that, if you wanted to pan out. See, that's the thing. You just draw the borders a little wider and erase your initial borders. If you want to just pan out a little bit, like give it a little more room, we could, we could either add additional characters or you could add a sense of place. So you could add, Kenny's house here, or something like that. I don't know. Just kind of playing. I think George is here. So this is one thought. So Charlotte, the squirrel, George, maybe there's maybe Porky's back here. Is that the thought? Let's try let's dig in deep on that Stranger Things kind of one, Ange. That was my initial thumbnail from the beginning. So here's the...
we want Charlotte in there?
Definitely want Charlotte in there. Here's my very original, just drew it really fast, which is very similar now. But now that I have the Stranger Things, we kind of broke it down. Let's see if I can actually kind of get it to... So the Stranger Things use all these kind of invisible X's to get you there, right, Ange? And then it also did this and did this. So it's actually using circles and lines to kind of create this shape. So Kenny we'd want to put here in the center, I'm thinking. And again, the book is what I feel. And then we kind of have almost like a... So you could have some other characters here on the side. We put a little bit of the... Now, what we could do is... Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay, so we're talking for the box set. So
yes, this is a box set.
Are you seeing this as one side of the box? Are you seeing this as wrapping around? Because the other option would be to do Kenny and Graham on one side.
It's a lot of... That's a huge, yeah. I'm
all
doing one. I'm designing this side of the box.
Repeat on the other side?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It's one image that will repeat on both sides. I think that's it. So the question then becomes, is it just Kenny? I feel like it's Kenny. There's a couple new characters that I would add to this mix. So like Flit Shrewsbury I'd add. He's the narrator, who was the narrator in the first book. I'd have Kenny's parents. I'd probably add a few of his sisters to this, like this maybe. So then the question is, where does Graham and Dante go?
Yeah.
Because this is both of these books are about friendship, and Kenny's best friend is Graham. So I have to figure out how to incorporate Graham. There's a couple other... I'm going to do a couple crazy ideas.
The most important, when you break it down, if you're creating the hierarchy, is Kenny, and then Graham.
So I'm just going to do some random... So here's what's great. If this doesn't work, who cares? It's taking me 5 minutes to do it, right? But what if Graham's here and Kenny's here and it's repeating with the book? Graham's smiling. He's all happy, although he doesn't look it with these angry eyes here. Hold on.
Can they pop from the book like they live in the book and take a sneak peek at you? Here's the thing. They don't live in the book. I mean, they live in the books.
This is harder than it looks. It's like making a jigsaw puzzle in the pieces that kind of go with it. So here I'm kind of playing with the idea that Graham is like almost... you can almost do his wings like that. It's kind of interesting. So he's envelops everything. You know which one I didn't look at was Pete's Dragon. I wonder what for the remake. I vaguely remember that. I want to say it's just a profile of the dragon and the kid.
I have to say, something happens when you put Graham on the bottom. It starts to feel like a pet, right? It changes the hierarchy. It's not how to train your dragon. He's not training him. It's about a friendship.
Okay, so let's put Graham on top. Now, the other thing we could do is put... You could put Graham here. I feel like he needs to be center. I feel like all these are so symmetrical. So Graham's here with his wings, or whatever, right? His ears. I feel like if you put Kenny dead center underneath, it's weird.
Yep.
Put Kenny to the side. You could still keep the angle, but you push it a little, so Kenny's over here, and then the secondary characters follow.
Do you want to show, I'm trying to get a feel, do you want to show action in it? In any way?
Possibly. Let's try one more. Graham is going to be the other thing. See, if we do a profile of Graham, we're going to lose that connectivity. So the other thing we didn't talk about is almost every one of those posters, all the characters. From 2020, from 1937 to 2020, the characters are looking at you. They're all looking at you. They want you to look at them. They're all, well, she's kind of looking above you, but they're all facing you. And the reason why is that is the most engaging. As human beings, as evolved monkeys, we understand that it totally is affecting you on a primal level. If the character is turned sideways or turned away, they're disconnecting from you. So Graham and Kenny have to be looking at you. Let me just try this, Ange. Just something crazy. Like where Graham's head is really big. Kind of like this. And you see that he's smiling. But maybe Kenny's in front of, he's in front of him, but it's clearly there. Oh, Pete's right. That's good. And the characters will go around and around. That's not bad. I feel like that one has the something. So all I did really, the only difference between this one and this one is I just pushed in on Graham and added Graham as a much bigger presence where we can see him much more. And he's smiling and he's behind Kenny and Kenny's here with the book. And then we see the secondary character, we push the secondary characters way back. They're much smaller. And in Graham's wings, you could probably do something. You know what I mean? You could maybe show the kingdom or something. The other one I want to just try. I didn't show it, but I was thinking of this other thought. Let's see what you think of this, Ange. Do it right in the middle here. Let's make sure I'm on so you guys can see. Kenny gets a car. So there was also this kind of... Do you remember the old Muppet movie poster?
You asking me?
Yeah, from the original Muppet movie.
I'm also pulling up the...
The original Muppet movie poster was Kermit and everybody in their car. It was this, basically. And Kenny gets a car in this book. You could almost put Graham. So it's almost like a this. We have the car and Kenny and everybody is in it, kind of driving. You answer a question. I'm gonna print out the Muppet movie real fast.
Well, it's funny because when you said that, I was looking at the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang poster.
Isn't that similar?
Kind of, except the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang poster is in profile. So it's like them flying into the air. They're not necessarily flying towards you.
So it disengages you, right?
Well, I mean, I think in a different way. Because in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the car is a character.
Right.
So they're not just riding in it. You definitely get more of the view of the vehicle.
I'm printing Muppets just quickly in black and white so we can...
Yeah, I was looking at Harry Potter. I was looking at Narnia. I know a couple of you guys mentioned Narnia.
This one's pretty good too. A couple Muppet posters. We do have a Drew Struzan here, so that looks like a Drew Struzan. That's the Muppet Christmas Carol. Let me zoom out here a little bit. Oh, maybe I am zoomed out. Oops. Hey, there I am.
Isn't that always fun?
That's nice, right up my nose hole, as Soph would say. Here's the Muppet movie poster that I was thinking of, where they're in the car. This is a really old school poster in that it leaves a ton of space for all the credits and everything, and it's got this Gone with the Wind, Gone with the Wind spoof going on. Very, this is not Drew Struzan. I'm pretty sure this is Richard Amsel, but I could be wrong. This definitely looks like Drew Struzan. I'm looking for his telltale signature. Anyway, it definitely uses the same. We've got X's right here leading to Scrooge, and then we've got that same shape here, putting Kermit as the highest character in this kind of combination. This one definitely utilizes a lot of the environment. This is a road trip movie, so of course it makes sense that it has the feeling of a road trip movie. What I love is they just took the roof and everything off the car. They just cheated what the car really was in the movie to make it work for the poster, which is kind of cool. But I love this idea of everybody kind of in the car. It's kind of fun. And if it harks back, that's not necessarily a bad thing either, And, right?
No. I know, I think, I've been on my phone, I've been kind of quiet looking at other images too, but, I looked at the Pete's Dragon poster, which looks a lot like the Jungle Book poster. There's a lot of repeated imagery that's being used.
Yeah.
Especially when you have stories that have multiple characters and you're trying to create a single image to represent that story.
Yeah, it's really hard. Movie poster artists are incredible at solving that when they do it right.
And then on top of it, for them, they're also creating likenesses.
Yeah. Yeah, see, again, the problem is I got to figure out how to incorporate Graham and all this, and I haven't even thought about Dante. You know what I mean? So you've got two very large characters.
Here's the thing, and I don't know, for me personally, I would look at that and go, that's a poster for the second book.
Yeah.
But do I think that it's the box set that represents
the world?
Listen, I love the car, and I love the addition of the car in the second book.
Yeah.
But do I think it's as key as illustrating the most important aspect of the story, which is friendship?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to this. I keep seeing Kenny, and I don't see him all the way up like Elsa and stuff. I see him like here. I see the pyramid of his friends and characters behind him. Right? Maybe there's the shape here. I'm not sure yet. And I see Graham.
With his wings?
Here. Mm-hmm. I see Graham here, big, smiling. He's happy. Kenny's ears are in front of him. I can have Kenny's ears down, but I think his ears would be up. And the wings are doing this. His wings are forming the other part of the X.
I'm also thinking...
the other thing, I can move Graham's head up.
You could have them on the... we've got Graham definitely over him. I don't know if there's a way to put them kind of at least close so you can see the interaction between...
It's always tricky because Graham is so much bigger.
I'm also trying to think of...
than the... listen, let's just... This is Pete's Dragon, isn't it? Isn't it kind of this?
Odd. Things in odd numbers are usually really helpful, too. So...
that's Pete's Dragon, isn't it? Kind of that?
That's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with something...
Well, that's a little too soon.
You're stealing from 2 years ago.
I wouldn't...
Well, the fact that you're replacing. So what happens? Here's a great pitfall, Ange. Right? So people see this and go, "That's it. That's it." They don't realize they've seen it before. It feels familiar. They don't realize they've seen it before because it's Pete's dragon.
Yeah.
So that we're literally replacing the imagery with the same.
I would not be like, hey, make that a rabbit.
Look at that. I drew that out of my head, and there you go. That's it. Just conjured that out of my subconscious because I'd seen it before. So, and I really want the other I like the idea of the other characters being part of it. I think it'd be cool to paint Charlotte and George and Kenny's parents and having them all kind of be part of this. I think would be really fun.
Peppino, relax.
So here we got Kenny. We've got, I feel like Charlotte's here. I got the shield and maybe George is here and he's got his sword, right? Charlotte's got something, I don't know. She's got, oh, she could have the map. They use a map in this book. You could have Flit, who's the narrator. We gave him a name finally, poor guy. You could have some of Kenny's sisters down here. You could have his parents maybe in the back. Maybe one other character. Like, I feel like that's pretty epic and cool looking, right? And then I think it's just figuring out how to incorporate Graham in this.
Go get him a toy, please. Pippin is insane today.
Yeah, he's been needing a...
We let him out in the yard. He ran around like a maniac. Now he's got a little toy squeezy jar of mustard.
Or this. Because the other thing I have to figure out is there a point where they want to put type? And where's the type go? Maybe down here, I don't know. And I'm not even sure what this is. It's just a shape right now, but... It's not bad. I feel like there's something there.
Yeah, I think that one's interesting.
Graham, Kenny...
I mean, it's
characters.
It's the first one, which it was...
Kind of the Stranger Things. And the... Not far off from the very original thing I drew. But I understand it better. You know, what might have been more just going on guts.
Well, it's just
now
silhouette.
we now know kind of like what the... You know, where I was using instinct before, now I'm kind of understanding how the composition really works. I think there's something here in that one. That might be one to chase, this design. You know, for fun, I want to try... I want to try something. I'm going to try the Hercules one. I know you think I'm crazy, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try the Hercules one. But I'm going to tweak it. Just because I'm thinking I'm a kid. I don't know anything I don't know who Tony DiTerlizzi is. I don't know anything about these books. And I'm a kid or I'm a parent, and this is the very first image I ever see, right? For this 2 books. So what if I did a dragon right here? Graham the dragon. Here's Graham, dragon, right? Here he is. And we pepper some of the characters along around it, just like the Hercules. But here, bigger than the others, is Kenny. And maybe it goes down like this with a couple other characters. So it might be kind of an interesting thought to have a dragon be the first thing you see, not a rabbit. And then you see Kenny. So Kenny's the biggest. And we see some of the other characters. But it's all about...
It's too many other characters.
You think so?
I do. I think
using the kind of the border, them as the border.
Yeah, I think it's too much. Those personally, I think those are.
It's too busy.
Yes.
All right, what if we boil it down? Let's try the frozen method, where it's literally boiled way down. It's Kenny, Charlotte, George, maybe one other character, right? He's got the book. This is Graham, flying dragon. That's Graham flying. This is like sky or the land, but you have a dragon flying right here. That could be pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And you put your title, just like Frozen, you put the title there.
I was also...
So I'd paint two paintings. You'd paint Graham flying in over Round Brook, over the setting of the story. So you show the little, maybe you show the trees and the this bucolic landscape. Maybe you see Kenny's little farm in the distance, and we see Graham, and then this is all sky. And then the second painting is this group shot that I can composite in with Photoshop. And the reason I would do this as separate is so we can adjust its height so that we can get type in here. Because I'm not quite sure. First of all, I don't even know what they're going to call it. Is it just Kenny? Or is it Kenny and the Dragon? I don't know what they're going to call it. But maybe it's that. I'm going to look at the Frozen. Yeah, that's where they put the Frozen thing. They put it in the mid. They use it as the break, kind of.
Here's another thing that I was looking at. Somebody mentioned Indiana Jones.
Yeah, the Drews.
But the thing that was interesting, it was two characters, and then you had a vignetted kind of moment here, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, those are great. Let me. So what Andrew's talking about is another Drew Struzan classic for is this Last Crusade? Yeah, it's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is very similar to the original Raiders of the Lost Ark poster. Mm-hmm. So let's do a break. Let's steal that composition, Ange. So I'm gonna set your phone down so I can draw it. It shouldn't go anywhere. I don't want it to go anywhere. So we have, again, main character is big, secondary character here. We have another big circle, and that's going to hold our vignette, some kind of scene. And then we have a very classic Indiana Jones, Drew Struzan. We're going to put character.
Because what I was thinking in my brain that I think, again, I don't want to lose, because I do think that friendship element is like the two of them center, but it's also they would use those little corner moments with the characters, so you could show the Manticore, the Flit Shrewsbury, you could show some of those other characters. And then maybe in that vignette you have your...
I'd have the castle, probably.
You could do the castle, you could do your car, you could do the bike, you could do...
So something... I swear, I think we almost did a Spiderwick image like this. I swear I've done one where Jarrett was really big. So Graham's kind of here, and then you have secondary characters. This is actually the Magic Shot books that I did for Bruce Koval years ago were very similar and I did the corner illustrations for the books that had stuff. This isn't bad.
Something interesting.
There is something interesting. It's very movie poster.
Those last two are my favorite. Both of those. Yeah,
I feel like we really got some breakthrough here. I love the idea of Graham just being this big flying dragon, because I think the dragon and the rat, like those are your two things, rabbit and dragon. Like the weird combination of that is going to be the thing that makes this story unique against all other stories. So that's the thing we really want to exploit here. And so I think this is one. And I think the Indiana Jones, I could really push that and start thinking of other things to do there. Might be kind of interesting. And I think maybe this might be our third. This kind of idea.
I feel like here's what I like that the other two seem a little less expected. These two seem less expected over that one.
Okay.
Which, for me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, the interesting thing, we could even do a little thing where you kind of flesh both of these.
Well, that's the next step. Yeah. The next step now is to sketch them further out.
And maybe even, I don't know if you went over an hour now, but.
Yeah, I think that's the next step.
Yeah.
I think we now take them up to the next level. I think I need to do a deeper dive into the Raiders and the Indiana Jones. My hunch is that Drew Struzan was probably looking at old pulpy, serialized, Terry and the Pirates, or maybe even like the old Flash Gordon serial movie posters. That's probably where he was using as his inspiration for these. But we'll take a look. I definitely think these circle vignettes seem very 1930s motif. I know I've seen that before. You have a little character kind of breaking out of a little circle. Mm-hmm. Very 1930s, but that also would fit in with the world of Kenny Rabbit. If it's a little old-timey, that's actually part of the appeal of this world that he inhabits. So I think I have my marching orders, Ange. I think, I might push this third one because even here, like this pose... this cluster of characters can essentially be the same cluster of characters here. So all I need to do is draw Graham here and then draw Graham here, and then we can very quickly see which one looks.
Okay, so I love him flying, but my concern is he becomes a flying dragon and less of a character, right?
Well, I don't think you can get it all. I mean, here you're going to get more of them if you do the close-up of his face and Kenny, Mm-hmm. So let's just see. It's also very Star Wars. I mean, I feel like all the Star Wars posters are very much, this kind of idea. You would add a third head. It would be like Han, Luke, Leia kind of thing. But let's do a deeper dive. We can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do it.
So thank you guys.
I think they're looking good. I think you've got some big, super solid options.
So let's look what we did in an hour. Besides talking about kind of the construction of movie posters, and I'll see if I can find that link, and let me see if I can zoom back out just so you guys get the full. So we had the original thumbnails that I did, my instant thoughts back on the 16th. We stole some compositions like Master Picasso told us to do and Master Bowie. We started playing and doing more variations of those. And so how many thumbnails did we get done in an hour, Ange? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, almost 20 thumbnails. In an hour. 20 thumbnails.
And the wise words of Wilford Brimley.
Yeah, all that and Wilford Brimley. In fact, who is winning? There is a lot.
Wow.
I mean, I got to keep some of my movie posters, but I can throw some.
Cannoli.
I mean, there's this. Obviously, there's that. You get that.
Oh, this person hasn't won before?
You're getting that. You're getting this. I can't give you Alzheimer. I might give you some printouts of some of the terrific fan art, which can be found on the Fans of Fantasy Facebook group. So lots of fun stuff. Plus, I'll throw a sketch in from yesterday because I've still got sketches left over from yesterday.
Awesome.
So it's going to be
saying I'm going to throw a copy of Magical Yet, and we'll do that too. We'll do it tomorrow.
We'll get there.
This is a hefty haul.
Yeah.
Let's see. Soph, do you want to pick your favorite Owlheimer?
Oh.
Ooh, Soph's doing a little painting herself.
Here, Soph, take a look at these. I don't think any of these Owlheimers have won, have they, Ange? I don't recognize any of the names, do you?
I don't think so.
All right, it's all up to Soph. Soph's going to pick. I'm going to lay him out in front of her. No pressure, Soph.
Oh, she went right to it.
That's it. Without pause. We have a drum roll for Kaylee Lewis. Kaylee Lewis, you are the winner of today's Junk Pot. Congratulations, Kaylee Lewis. And the next thing you're going to do is a sound effect of an audience cheering and clapping.
Yes.
Like that. Yay, Kaylee Lewis. I hope Kaylee Lewis is listening. For all we know, she may not even be listening. But I know Emily C. Martin will make sure she knows. Kaylee, you are the winner of today's Junk Pot because you did such a terrific job of Sophia's Old Man Owlheimer, and you led us off on the entire discussion today of ideas and stealing those copyright and stealing those ideas, which we did today.
Congratulations, Kaylee.
Cue up the music, Ange, and we'll call it another day.
Awesome.
34 hours of me talking. I don't even think my own mother can listen to that. But you guys have been. You've been terrific. We had a good, this was it was productive. Absolutely. We got some,
The Sonos not working?
Not cooperating? Do you want me to do it from my computer?
First time I've had technical difficulties in the Sonos department. It says reconnect to Sonos.
Oh.
Oh, man.
All right. So, Kaylee, if you are here, send me an instant direct message with your mailing address so I can send all this stuff to you. And thank you guys so much.
Oh, guess
Here it
what?
comes. We got the outro.
It's finally here.
The outro.
Yeah, it's here.
It's the outro. Tom, but last but not least, I don't know if Tom Hoffelder was on today.
He is. He's been on.
Tom did a music video of slideshow of all the owls to music.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I missed that.
Yes.
How is that possible?
Well, you know, that's Tom. That's the magic of Tom. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We had a terrific time today.
Kaylee Ann said, yay! Thank you so
Awesome.
much. So.
Yay! You're getting a ton of stuff. We'll continue drawing. Being drawn to fantasy, and we'll continue exploring these thumbnails tomorrow on Drawn to Fantasy.
See you guys tomorrow.
See you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be safe, be healthy, and hang in there. We'll see ya. Good one.
Yeah, good times.
I gotta write her name.
Awesome. Good times, folks. Add it to the list.
Kaylee Ann Lewis. We got it here.
Kaylee Ann Lewis. Today's winner.
There it is.